Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in again. So, I have been having a topic that's just been like in my brain, and really quick, I wanted to share with you guys. Um, so, first, I want to start off by painting like this picture that I'm sure many of us grew up with. When we're kids, we're taught to follow this like linear path. We go to school, we strive for good grades, and then we go off to college, we graduate with this degree and a career that we studied years for, and then we're meant to go and find a job in this field, right? But as we, especially this year, as we know, life sometimes has other plans for us. And if you're in a season right now where you feel like you need something different or you need something more to really like feel fulfilled, it's totally okay. And it's so normal, especially right now when we have so much time and we've just been, like faced with like really seeing like the bigger perspective of what we've been doing for so long, right? Like we've been taken out of this routine that we're so used to. And so I also want to like paint this other picture. Like, look at Mother Nature. She's not the same every day, right? So why should we add this extra pressure on ourselves to follow this one path for the rest of our lives when our own Mother Nature doesn't even do that, So this higher power, doesn't even do that. So let's just like take a breath, and I want to share with you guys different pivot moves that I've made in my own life. And one recently that I just made. So I want to start off by sharing where my background comes from. So I went to school for editing, for filmmaking. I got my degree in post-production, in editing movies and other things. And then soon after, when I was at school, I met two really great and amazing filmmakers. And so after I graduated, because I was the last one to graduate, we said like, okay, we have our degrees, let's go, let's make a movie. And so we made a movie, and it was amazing. It was such a learning experience. And then what people don't actually talk about a lot is that, especially when you're an indie filmmaker, is when you make a movie, it's not like a 1 year commitment. It's at least like 3 to 5 years of your life that you are dedicating to this film, to this project, this baby. And so soon after we finished filming it, which only took us like a couple of months, I got a job, a full-time job at this other company, with a great environment, love the people. And so I was editing there while also, side hustling and building our own company and working on this movie that we had just finished filming. And so then, I had everything. Like I had the job, I was working on my future, and just had like all these dreams and everything. I had a great home life. Like everything was great on paper, right? Like if you were the outsider looking in and I was telling you my story, you'd be like, dang girl, like that is the best life. But inside I felt like there was something missing, and I didn't know what it was, and there was a little bit of guilt because I had so much going for myself. Like it was really great, life was great, but inside I was just like, dang, like what is it? And so I didn't know what it was. But the one thing I did know is that my health was struggling. Like I was struggling with it. I went to a doctor's appointment. I got my blood test, and I hadn't gone to the doctor for a while, just FYI, because I knew that I wasn't going to get positive results back. But once I did go, I got them back, and it said like pre-diabetic. And that just like, it really like scared the out of me. Because most of my family on my dad's side have diabetes, and I've seen them struggle, and a lot of them have lost their lives because of complications that came with diabetes. And so I think I was 26 or 27 when I got that news. And I said, okay, well, I know in that area, I know for a fact I gotta fix this. So I decided to dedicate myself to my own health and fitness. And that's when I came across Beachbody, and I did my first challenge with 21 Day Fix. And I got amazing results. I was finally learning that you didn't have to kill yourself at the gym in order to see results, which was what I was doing before Beachbody. And I also was learning I was also learning that I didn't have to deprive myself of foods that I love, and I started to love eating more healthier foods also, that like they were also really good for me, and that they weren't boring and like how I grew up thinking they were. And so I was just having this amazing experience with it all, and people started to notice that, like the people in my family and my friends, and they started asking questions, and they were like shook by my outside appearance. But once I got to like talk with them and really interact with them, they felt the difference, like from my soul, like I was just different. I was showing up differently. And so they started asking like, okay, what are you doing? And I started to share what I was doing. And then the opportunity to partner up with Beachbody and become a coach like just came to me. And I was like, okay, like it was just this like feeling, like I didn't know what that meant, but it just felt all right to say okay. Like it felt right. And so I went for it. And my first client was a friend of mine. And I feel like that those are like the greatest gifts, when you can give that to like a loved one. And then my cousins, and then more family, and then more friends started to join me. Um, and what really like filled me up and still fills me up to this day is just hearing everybody's stories, like where they started, and then watching them grow along the way, and hearing their victories, hearing their breakthroughs, seeing their confidence, like when they show up on like social media or whatever, like just seeing them be like, I just see them step into who they've always been. But like it's naturally, like a lot of us hold ourselves back a lot, maybe because of the way we grew up, or just things in life. But once we start to take care of ourselves and really start to nurture ourselves, we see like who we've always been, and our capabilities and all of that just like come out of us, and just like blossom, right? And I love that. I love seeing that in my clients and my girls. I call y'all my girls because you are my girls. And so that's where I found that fulfillment that I was missing at that time. And it was hard to really like go full on into coaching, because I knew that I needed to step back somewhere else in what I was doing. And so I needed to have that hard conversation with one of my partners who we were building, our film company with. And it was hard because he's also my friend. So I was like, oh my gosh. And that really like held me back more. I could have gone more in sooner into coaching, but I was afraid. I was afraid that I was going to let people down. And everybody knew me as like the filmmaker, and, maybe I thought people weren't going to take me seriously as a coach, and all those things, all those stories were building up. But finally I said, you just get to a point where you're just like exhausted trying to be, oh, there goes that machine. Okay. I might start talking a little louder. you get to a point where you're just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I can't be going at 100 everywhere, So I spoke to him and we had this great conversation. He was so understanding. He's like, I know, I see it in you. You got to pursue this. Go for it. And so I didn't step down fully. That's one thing I do want to say. And then I'll come back to this later. But you don't necessarily need to be like, okay, I'm pushing this whole thing aside because I want to pursue this one thing. Like, no, I told him I need to step down a couple of notches from what we've been doing. So if we need to bring someone else along, or if you feel like you can take on extra responsibility, let's do it, because I don't want to let go of what we've built, but I do need to pursue this also. And so to make this long story a little bit shorter, like all of that worked out and I went into coaching. And it's been more than 3 years and it's been incredible. But recently I've had another moment where I'm like there's something that's missing. Like, what is it? Like, I need to fill something else up. And then when COVID happened and I lost my full-time job, when that happened, I was like, why is this happening to me? Like, why right now? Like, everything was just like going great. And I've been at this job for such a long time and it became a part of my identity that I was also like the people, they were really amazing. I loved their environment. They were so hilarious and I miss them. And then on top of that, like, there's this freaking pandemic. Like, oh my gosh, it's like the worst. So I've really been dedicating my time to, staying afloat and also working on my own self-care and really identifying what I want my life to be, and really, I feel like it really helped me come to this point where I'm at right now, where I'm building a brand around wellness, because I love being creative. That's where like my filmmaker side comes out, is, being creative with like video and just like painting things and just being very just like, that's my creative outlet. And it helps with my anxiety. It actually builds my confidence because I learned that I love to be a student. I'm like a seeker. So I love to learn new things, and that actually builds my confidence a lot. And with like filmmaking, it's evolving, like just like us, it's always evolving. So you learn new things and new techniques, and just, it's really, really great. And so I love that. And I also love empowering women, because that's something that I didn't have growing up. And I've been at that point where you just feel so lost that you feel like there's something more to you, but you don't know what it is, and you feel lost and you're just going through the motions every day. But I also know the other side of it, where you're like working on yourself, you're loving yourself along the way, and then you're finding these passions and taking risks and all of that. And it just like, it's so empowering. And I love that. I love like helping other women reach that point in their life where they are creating the life of their dreams. And so I was like, why not merge the two things? And so that's been my recent pivot, is that I'm building a brand around wellness. And so it's scary because I've never, like, this is an area where I don't know anything about, but I am learning along the way. Like I said, I love to learn. So I'm researching, like going to Google University over here, and just learning from other people, other creators, and other, wellness people who are just making great impact in our world. And so those have been my recent pivot points. And I wanted to share that because I've also been having other conversations with friends who are in that um, in that point in their lives where, you know, they are afraid to take a leap. And like I said, like, you don't necessarily need to like, say you went, I don't know, to become a teacher, right? And you're like, I love it, but I feel like I feel like writing a book. I feel like publishing a book. Like, you don't necessarily need to leave your teaching job. You know, you can start writing that book maybe before you wake up, during your lunch break, or after work, you know, like, it just doesn't, you don't need to write it overnight either. You can write 2 pages, 3, or research like how long does a book need to be, you know, or, you know, what's the process of publishing a book? It's just taking those like first couple of steps, you know, instead of like freaking out over having to decide like, okay, this is my forever thing. Because if you put that pressure on yourself, it's a lot. Like, even thinking about it, it's heavy, you know? So you don't necessarily need to drop what you're doing right now altogether, but don't like hold yourself back if you feel like you need a change, you know, and especially if it's in, trust your gut. You know, like, your gut will tell you, and it will remind you. You can bury it sometimes, like, go away, you know, but it's going to come back, you know, especially if it's in your heart, that that passion or that change is going to, or that urge to change is going to come back. And so be real with yourself and ask yourself like, okay, how can I take, so because some people are great at like taking that leap and running with it, but for some people it, like, tiptoeing is totally fine also. You know, like I said, you just got to take that step, and then another one, and then another one, and then see it through. Maybe it's not like, maybe it's not going to make money, or you don't want it to make money. It's just something that's going to fulfill you. Like, it doesn't have to make you money or anything like that. It's just something that you enjoy doing, you know? So um so here's my advice. So if you're in the midst of wanting to make a change, like, again, be real with yourself. How can I do it? You know, what's the first step that I can do? Can I just take the leap? Am I good at taking leaps like that? Or can I tiptoe it around it? You know, and just go for it. Like, again, don't put that pressure on yourself to know everything right now, to feel like you need to have it all together right now. Like, we have time. We have time, you know, like, so really just ask yourself where you're at right now, and don't freak out. You know, if you need a change, just go for it. What is that change? Start exploring things. What do you enjoy doing? You know, maybe like some hobby that you enjoy doing can take you down like a different path, and that's okay. You know, like, we're evolving every single time. And I feel like also everything that we do in every chapter serves a purpose. You know, like I mentioned, filmmaking really helped me identify that creativity lights me up, and coaching and helping other women, other people, you know, become the best version that they see for themselves, really, like, even saying that's heavy. Woo, that really like fulfills me also, you know. So and now, like, those two things have now just become this new chapter that I'm about to begin. So if you went to school for teaching, you know, like, certain things that you learn, you can take with you into this next chapter that you're about to begin, you know. So really, like, think about that, let that marinate. And then, you know, just keep painting that portrait of your life that you've always wanted for yourself. You know, like, keep painting that canvas. Don't ever stop. Keep your heart and your soul lit by following what's in your gut. All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section, or you can like message me directly. And yeah, I just wish you guys an amazing week ahead. I love you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.